Gary Vaynerchuk has easily been one of the most influential people along my entrepreneurial journey. And I recently actually got paid by his team to actually help reach new audiences for his brand, right? And this was in the form of a collaboration campaign with one of the accounts that I was managing for many, many years. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty awesome, right? A pretty crazy experience, especially as somebody who, yeah, for those of you who don't know who I am, I've pretty much spent the past few years basically doing marketing for different personal brands and coaches and consultants, specifically helping them grow online, drive more sales through ads, etc. And so this was one of the biggest milestones for me, because of course that is somebody you look up to for a very long time. But I really want to specifically speak about the biggest lesson that I actually learned from it, and what I can definitely say has contributed the most to actually me being able to build a company where I've now been able to work with multiple 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs, as well as meet some pretty cool people like the founders of WAP, one of the most powerful softwares, and people like Ty Lopez, etc., and all these other guys. And so those have been really, really cool moments. And I can definitely say, yeah, a lot of things I have learned from Gary Vee. Okay, now probably you know him on social media as the guy who's speaking a lot about content, business, branding, and everything. But the key thing I want to say was the most impactful thing was being able to build a brand, right? And so oftentimes when you're starting something or you're working with certain people, whatever it is, the primary objective as much as possible is to make money as quickly as possible and to get results as quickly as possible. And of course, this is the game, right? This is one of the most important things. But one thing which I can say did make probably the biggest impact on my journey was the fact that what Gary Vee is really good at, and what he says is super, super important, is being really clear about the type of brand that you want to build, right? He has actually this concept called jab, 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 right hook, right? And basically it's build goodwill, build a relationship, build brand, and then you can sell pretty much anything to that audience, right? But that requires you to be extremely clear about the direction that you want to focus on with your specific brand, right? And even when I work today with different coaches, this is quite a tricky question, because having that level of clarity is not always the easiest, but it's the difference I've personally seen, not only in myself, but in many people I've worked with, that leads to longevity, right? That leads to lasting the test of time. I've worked with so many different coaches over the years where they've kind of just come and then they've kind of dipped and gone, and they've just changed directions. And I myself have had a business that's gone definitely through a lot of ups and downs, but pretty much it's been still the same business throughout it all, right? And so what I can definitely say as the key thing I learned from Gary Vee in this sense has been being really clear about the brand you want to build, and essentially almost like the impact you want to have, right? And so oftentimes, from my experience working with coaches, from seeing it in myself, these are the type of businesses that actually last the 10, 20, 30 years. Okay, I can't say fully 30 years now, but I can say 10, 20 years and last a really, really good test of time, right? And so from the coaching perspective, it's one of the key things I look for in every single project that I work on is I look for somebody who's really clear about the vision that they want to have, about the brand that they want to build, because doing brand building is actually really fun if you really align with the vision and you align with where you want it to go long term. It only stops becoming fun if it's so forced in terms of I need to make money today. Of course, this is not big picture stuff. If I work with someone, of course we need to make money, but the general mindset behind the person, right? And I can easily say for myself, there was a period where I started my business, and in the first, I don't know, a few years, I made little to nothing, in my business, right? But I just love to do it every single day. And the reason was because I just really loved the direction, and I ended up building this brand and managing a few accounts. And then eventually that's what happened with the collaboration with Gary Vee. And I also learned that they were doing a similar-ish thing. I mean, they were doing it at a completely different level. That was just brand awareness at scale, where you're just trying to reach different audiences, which is not really something that you would worry about too much when you're, let's say, growing your business from the ground up in the beginning. But this has been probably the biggest lesson that I can definitely say is the clarity of what you want to build, right? Because that's been the biggest difference, I can say, not only in the project that I've worked with, but also in myself and my own entrepreneurial journey, right? So if I would say something probably to my younger self, it would be that don't focus too much on the money in the beginning, right? Yes, sure, it's important, but you need to have clarity on where you want to go, the direction you want to go long term. And you want to start building something that enforces that, and the money follows, right? And for maybe a coach or consultant, I would probably tell them, be really clear about the type of business you want to build, because I've also worked with many different coaches who've optimized the business for making revenue like immediately. Usually these are like newer founders coming into the game, new coaches that are just starting out, and they just optimize for whatever makes the most money in like month one. And 90% of the time I've seen that by year 1, 2, 3, these businesses usually pivot, change direction completely, and are not even in the same vehicle anymore, right? And so so that's pretty much the biggest thing I can definitely say as a major lesson. Now today was a little bit of a different video, but on my channel I generally share a lot of the strategies from a marketing perspective, ads perspective, that I'm learning, helping different coaches and consultants grow, and the things that's making some campaigns work, some campaigns not. So if you're a coach or consultant, this is also where I share that stuff, right? I also share a lot of the lessons I learned as being the marketing guy behind it for some of the people who might want to actually be doing something similar. I share pretty much content like this on my channel. So if that's something that's interesting for you, then feel free to drop a subscribe, and you'll pretty much get notified of when I do the next video, generally about once per week or every few weeks, depending on how crazy things get in the business, right? And so, and essentially, if you are a coach or consultant, we also have some really cool resources that you can find across this channel, that might be able to help you go out there and grow too. All right, awesome. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and amazing.